Thank you very much, Antonio. Thank you all for being here today with all of us. My name is Maria Perifano, as Antonio said, and I'm really glad to join this interesting event today. My affiliation is the University of Macedonia in Thessaloniki, Greece. I am language teacher and the computer-assisted language learning expert and the scientific manager of the DC4LT project. So let's see. Okay. I will talk to you today about the digital competence assessment framework and the tool for language teachers that we have been working on with our team. But first, let's have a look about what is digital literacy and how it is defined. We have found several, let's say, different definitions about what is the digital literacy. According to European Parliament, digital literacy is one of the 8 key competencies that European citizens should master and one of the 4 foundational skills for learning. And the same, let's say, philosophy follows also the digital literacy is one of its 7 pillars, says also the European Digital Agenda. And the OECD report, we see again that it gives another definition that there is a big need not only to integrate ICT into schools' curricula, but also to invest in training teachers to use them for teaching and to help students learn. So we can see that there are many other, let's say, different definitions, but the most important thing is that digital literacy is really important, and the digital literate education will be able, let's say, to think critically about why, how, and when technology supplement learning and teaching. So it's not just a simple skill, but it is a set of skills and that are really important. And as we see, Newman here suggests that digital literacy combines information literacy and ICT literacy. So we see another perspective here. And while Alat Mutka, you can see here that poses ICT literacy in the center, where digital literacy is one component of the ICT literacy, while information literacy, media literacy, and internet literacy are also other components. So as you see, different definitions are made, are given to digital literacy, and they are all very interesting to explore. We have also heard about the term digital competence. So what it is, a digital competence, and many times we have heard also a digital competent teacher. So what it is that we mean by that, by this definition. So as you see here again, we can see that we can see different learning domains, several tools, several competence areas, several modes and purposes. So in any case, it is not, as Ferrari says here, digital competence is again a set of knowledge, skills, attitudes, strategies, values, and awareness that are required when using ICT, digital media to perform specific tasks. And this is really important to see that it is not just a simple thing, as I said before, but it is a set of different skills that a teacher should acquire in order to be characterized as a digital competent teacher. The teacher's needs for continuous professional development in ICT was reflected in several European reports. And it is not just, and the European Union has worked to this direction, not from 2016 as we see here, but since 2010 we can see different, let's say, reports that really analyze the needs for the continuous professional development in ICT. The bad thing is that until now we cannot say that so far we have reached, let's say, to a level that European language teachers are digitally competent. And that means that we need to go further and to do even more things, organize more training, let's say sessions, events, but also give tools to the teachers. So we see here, those are other surveys, but we can think of the results that our survey presented, and we can see here if there are big, let's say, changes between those surveys. So you see here that in the survey of schools of 2013, we see that one big problem was that the biggest percentage of European schools lacked the appropriate infrastructure, had low frequency use of ICT in the foreign language. 70% of the language teachers did not consider themselves digitally confident or able to teach digital skills effectively. This is a huge percentage, 70%, it's a huge percentage, and it's just, 7 years ago. And then we see another report in 2019, so very, let's say, recent one, where we can see that teachers report in this one that their greatest training needs was this one. It was the digital skills. So in the last decade, as we see here, there has been a significant investment in the digital equipment and infrastructure. But the problem is that, okay, besides this one thing that it is referred here, that there is a lack to access to high-speed internet, the most important thing and the most important lack in this report, again, it is teachers training. So even though there are also schools that they have the infrastructure and they can, let's say, implement and introduce technology in their practice, it is teachers' lack of training that blocks this, let's say, implementation. So we can see here some of the obstacles, pedagogy-related obstacles. We discussed about the equipment, lack of adequate skills of teachers, insufficient technical support for teachers, insufficient pedagogical support for teachers, lack of adequate content material for teaching, lack of content in national language, difficulty of integration of ICT in the curriculum, lack of pedagogical models on how to use ICT for learning. And also another, let's say, attitude-related obstacle was the lack of interest of the use of ICT in teaching and learning not being as a goal in the school. So to sum up, we can see that in 2019, again, in this report, the problem is reflected. And so even after 10 years of practically, there is a push from European Union to implement and integrate ICT technology and training in schools. The situation is still remains in this, let's say, low level of ICT expertise. So now with the pandemic, as you discussed before, and as Mr. Snyder said before, if we are going to do another survey after the pandemic, probably all these numbers will change after this. And many people, many teachers now, okay, even though they didn't have, as I say here, maybe the interest to use ICT, probably now they are obliged, and they will try also different methodologies, and I'm sure that the numbers will change. So just I have here some, let's say, we have researched a little bit, explored if there were other frameworks before. proposed by other institutions or European Union, and we found some, let's say, frameworks like the Digital Comp. This one was a framework for digital skills for European citizens. And then there are a number of, you can see that there was an effort was made that during the last years. And you can see here that several institutions, organizations from all of the, not only from Europe, but from other, let's say, countries worldwide, has made the effort for proposing a digital framework for teachers. So you can see here the DigiComp Edu from the GRS, the Joint Research Center, another one from UNESCO, another one from INTEF, an organization in France. So those are proposals for generally for all teachers. So they are not targeted language teachers. We can see Microsoft from USA has also proposed digital literacy standard curriculum that it was also very interesting, this one. Or the Norwegian Center for ICT in Education. This is really interesting. So if you have also time to have a look at those are really interesting to explore. How, more or less, many of those are not common. They give different perspectives on what digital literate, let's say, digital competent teachers should have. So this is really interesting. Also the differences between and the different perspective of each one of these frameworks. The SchoolNet of South Africa has also proposed another framework. And we can see here that are more and very nice proposals from other organizations. And I am moving now. I'm from the digital frameworks that are targeting teachers generally to those that are few, and those are digital frameworks for language teachers. So we can see that there are not so many. We have, let's say, as you see here, 3 and 35, you will see some more. There is, let's say, this idea of focusing a little bit on the needs that the language teachers should have, the digital needs that a language teacher should have in the practice, in the teaching practice. Because teaching language is a totally different, let's say, area, and specific, let's say, digital skills are needed. So we can see here that those, let's say, digital frameworks proposed by European and American institutions are also really interesting. We have explored of this, and we came up with another one, our framework. So as you see, we have done a research, we have explored a little bit what work has been done. And then based on, let's say, we have been inspired by these specific frameworks, the framework for online language teaching skills from Competence. This framework includes, as it says here, 3 columns: technology, pedagogy, and evaluation, and then it identifies 3 different competence levels. So this was one that was really, you know, they gave us many nice ideas. This was a very good one. The Equals framework of 2016, this was also a very nice one. The Common European Framework of Reference for Languages gave us also this perspective for language teachers. The European Framework for the Digital Competence of Educators, that it is the most known one, the most known to generally to all teachers. And the Cambridge English Digital Framework for Language Teachers, this is also interesting because you can test. You can do this test. You can test your digital competence online, and it's quite interesting to see your score in the end. So that was a nice one. And I am, let's say that in our framework, we were inspired by Bloom's taxonomy, which explains, in fact, the different cognitive stages of any learning process. So as we see here, moving, so the different learning, as we see here, this taxonomy explains the subsequent cognitive stages of any learning process, from remembering and understanding to apply and analyze to evaluate and create. And I will move to, okay, here. Well, for us, one thing that was really, really important when we wanted to create this framework was the way that we would present the different skills that language teachers should acquire, should have, should develop. So what we came up with was that we need, let's say, as language teachers, theoretical background, but also practical background. So this is why we have divided. We have included, in fact, in this in the skills, the knowledge proponent. So we see here that the knowledge, behind the knowledge we have the theoretical background, and behind skills the practical, let's say, the practical skills that a teacher should acquire. So when knowledge is learned passively, it says here, without skills, it is often only learned at a superficial level. The knowledge may be troublesome, ritual, inert, conceptually complex, foreign, or tacit, and therefore not readily transferred to new environments. The idea is that if we only learn something and we don't practice it, in fact, we cannot say that we have acquired and we have developed the skill. We just know it theoretically. So skills are defined, as Ferrari says here, how we use it and what we know. So for us, for the DC4LT framework, it was really important to describe both the knowledge and the skills, the practice that a language teacher needs to acquire, develop in order to be digital competent. So this is the framework that we came up. As you see here, the framework proposes 6 assessment dimensions. The first one is referring to technology, the second one to pedagogy, the third to assessment, the fourth to content, the fifth to professional development, and the last one, the sixth, the learner support. And the technology, as you see here, we have also these different dimensions. If each dimension encompasses 3 levels of proficiency progression, and each level defines specific and let's say specific theoretical knowledge and practical skills that a teacher should possess in each level. So we have novice, proficient, and expert, those 3 levels. And as you see here, in its, let's say, in its column, you will see now in technology what other, let's say, different thematics are contained. Here, maybe it is not, let's say, you don't see it very clear, but each, let's say, different dimension has different thematic areas that we think that are important, and each thematic area that we have in each of them, there is a description of the theoretical background that the teacher should have, and the expertise, the skills that should have. And this is implemented in all these different dimensions to make it more easily for you to understand. I have here, let's say, one example. So the first level that it is, let's say, we have the novices. This is the first level, the basic one. We say that first of all, you need to have some. There are some prerequisites, so someone should have some basic technological skills, and this is some basic theory. So we start with this. So a basic rate. So teachers should have a basic knowledge of what? Of software and devices that are needed for an administration or organizational communication. A basic range of software and devices that are needed for preparing lessons and all that. So we give here some ideas about the knowledge, the basic knowledge that a teacher should have. And then those are specific skills or abilities that should possess or should acquire a language teacher. So, for example, ability to work on the word processing worksheets, ability to follow menus. So those are, let's say, more analytical description of what this, let's say, dimension is presenting. So in a way, let's say that the language teachers should have a look at this and should think, okay, more or less, I know most of all this, so I can do all this. So this is the skills, means that I can do all this. So if I can do that, all these activities, it means that I am digital competent in this first level. So more or less, this is just an idea of what we have done, but we will also work more on that when we will have our training sessions. We will discuss about this very soon. In our training school, we will have a workshop on that, and we will test the framework and a rubric tool that will be there to give us a full idea, a full number of how digital competent we are. So thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions.
Thanks, Maria. So it's the question and answer session. If we have any questions from the audience. Luisa Panichi, thank you. I would like to know how and when we can access this material.
Okay. So we will soon have a training school where people will be able to work with us and explore what we have done. But this is, for now, it is a work in progress, and we need to pilot it first because there are many, as you saw, there are many details. So probably, some things will change, but from soon in 2021, we will be able to work with people on that, on different training sessions until the final publication that will be later in I don't know, April. We will see. Thank you very much. Can we apply?
I won't read the congratulations and the compliments. I will just read the questions. Again, Luisa, can we apply for training with you?
Of course, you will be notified if you follow our if you follow our Facebook group, or if you visit our website, you will be able to see when we are going to launch our training school. Thank you very much for your questions.